If you spotted a grown man walking around South Central with a pacifier in his mouth, chances are you were looking at Dookie. Played by Dedrick D. Gobert, Dookie is one of the most recognizable background characters in Boyz n the Hood, and that's largely because of his trademark pacifier, which became one of the film's most memorable visual quirks. Always hanging around with Doughboy and the crew, Dookie brings a laid-back energy to the neighborhood. Every neighborhood has that familiar face who's always around, always part of the conversation, and somehow always knows what's going on. What I like about Dookie is that he feels authentic. He isn't trying to be the toughest guy in the room, or the smartest. He's simply one of the homies, sharing laughs, hanging out with friends, and navigating life in a community filled with challenges. Characters like Dookie help remind us that Boyz n the Hood isn't just about the major storylines, it's also about the everyday people who make up the neighborhood. Dedrick D. Gobert was just 19 years old when he portrayed Dookie, making a lasting impression despite having limited screen time. The role helped launch his acting career, and he would later appear in films like Poetic Justice and Higher Learning. Sadly, Dedrick's life was cut short in 1994 when he was killed at just 22 years old. It's a heartbreaking ending for a young actor who showed so much promise. Even so, his performance lives on, and decades later, fans still remember Dookie as the guy with the pacifier who brought personality, humor, and authenticity to one of the greatest Hood films ever made. Trey Styles, played by Cuba Gooding Jr., is the character most viewers connect with in Boyz n the Hood. Growing up in South Central Los Angeles, Trey is constantly surrounded by violence, peer pressure, and difficult choices. But unlike many of his friends, he has something that gives him an edge: his father, Furious Styles. Determined to raise his son the right way, Furious teaches Trey lessons about responsibility, respect, and thinking about the future. As Trey gets older, he finds himself pulled in different directions. He wants to stay loyal to his friends, but he also knows that many of the choices they make could lead to trouble. Caught between the streets and the future his father wants for him, Trey spends much of the film trying to figure out where he belongs. Cuba Gooding Jr. was just 22 years old when he brought Trey to life on screen. Today, he is 58 years old. And his performance still feels as powerful as it did when the film was first released. There's a sincerity and vulnerability in the way he plays Trey that makes the character feel real. What makes Trey so relatable is that he isn't perfect. He makes mistakes, loses his temper, and struggles with the same emotions many young people face. But through it all, he keeps trying to do better. His journey reminds us that where you come from doesn't have to determine where you end up. And that's one of the reasons Boyz n the Hood continues to resonate with audiences more than 3 decades later. Ricky Baker, played by Morris Chestnut, is one of the most beloved and heartbreaking characters in Boyz n the Hood. A talented high school football star with dreams of earning a college scholarship, Ricky represents hope in a neighborhood where opportunities can be hard to find. Unlike many of the people around him, he has a clear goal: use football to build a better future for himself, his family, and his young son. Known for his kind heart and easygoing personality, Ricky tries to stay focused on his dreams despite the challenges surrounding him. While his brother Doughboy is constantly pulled into street life, Ricky does his best to avoid trouble and keep moving forward. His determination to succeed makes him someone that family, friends, and viewers can't help but root for. Morris Chestnut was 22 years old when he took on the role of Ricky Baker, a performance that introduced him to audiences around the world. Today, he is 57 years old, and Boyz n the Hood remains one of the most memorable films of his career. What makes Ricky's story so powerful is that he does everything right. He works hard, stays focused, and dreams of something bigger than the streets around him. Yet his journey becomes one of the film's most tragic reminders that sometimes good people still become victims of circumstances beyond their control. More than 3 decades later, Ricky Baker remains one of the most unforgettable characters in Boyz n the Hood. His story continues to resonate because it represents lost potential, broken dreams, and the painful reality that not every young person gets the chance to reach the future they deserve. Furious Styles, played by Lawrence Fishburne, is the backbone of Boyz n the Hood and one of the most respected fathers in film history. In a neighborhood where many young men grow up without strong male role models, Furious stands out as a father who is fully present in his son's life. He doesn't just tell Trey right from wrong, he takes the time to explain why those choices matter. Wise, disciplined, and fiercely protective, Furious understands the dangers surrounding his community. He knows that violence, gangs, and poverty can easily derail a young person's future, which is why he's determined to prepare Trey for the challenges ahead. Whether he's teaching life lessons in the backyard or having serious conversations about responsibility and manhood, every lesson comes from a place of love. Lawrence Fishburne was 29 years old when he portrayed Furious Styles, a role that showcased a level of maturity far beyond his years. Today, he is 64 years old, and many fans still consider Furious one of the greatest father figures ever put on screen. What makes Furious so memorable is that he isn't just concerned about his own family. He cares about the entire community. He speaks openly about issues like violence, economic inequality, and the importance of ownership, encouraging young people to think beyond their current circumstances. His words remain just as relevant today as they were in 1991. More than 30 years later, Furious Styles is still remembered not for his toughness, but for his wisdom. In a film filled with tragedy and hard lessons, he represents guidance, hope, and the belief that one good parent can change the course of a child's life. Riva Styles, played by Angela Bassett, is the loving and determined mother of Trey Styles in Boyz n the Hood. From the very beginning, Riva wants what's best for her son, even when that means making difficult decisions. Recognizing that Trey needs strong guidance as he grows up, she makes the courageous choice to have him live with his father, Furious Styles, believing it will give him the structure and discipline he needs to succeed. While Trey spends most of his time with Furious, Riva never stops being an important part of his life. Educated, hardworking, and ambitious, she serves as an example of what can be achieved through perseverance and determination. She constantly encourages Trey to think about his future and reminds him that there is more to life than the challenges surrounding him. Angela Bassett was 32 years old when she portrayed Riva Styles, delivering a performance that helped establish her as one of Hollywood's rising stars. Today, she is 67 years old and remains one of the most respected and celebrated actresses in the industry. What makes Riva such a memorable character is her willingness to put her son's needs ahead of her own feelings. Rather than holding on to Trey out of pride, she chooses the path she believes will give him the best chance at success. Her decision ultimately helps shape the young man Trey becomes. In a film filled with powerful messages about family, responsibility, and community, Riva Styles reminds us that strong mothers play just as important a role as strong fathers. Through love, sacrifice, and unwavering support, she helps provide the foundation that allows Trey to dream beyond the limits of his environment. Some characters leave an impression long after the credits roll, and Doughboy is one of them. Played by Ice Cube, Doughboy is the kind of character who initially comes across as the neighborhood troublemaker, but the more you watch him, the more you realize he's one of the deepest characters in Boyz n the Hood. Growing up in South Central Los Angeles, Doughboy faces challenges that would break most people. In and out of trouble from a young age, he becomes a product of an environment filled with gangs, violence, and limited opportunities. Yet despite his rough exterior, he's fiercely loyal to the people he loves, especially his brother Ricky. What makes Doughboy so compelling is that he understands exactly what's happening around him. He sees the cycle trapping young men in his community and recognizes how difficult it is to escape. While many characters spend the film searching for answers, Doughboy already knows the questions that need to be asked. Some of the movie's most powerful moments belong to him, particularly when he reflects on the violence that continues to claim the lives of people he cares about. Those scenes reveal a thoughtful and intelligent side that often gets overlooked beneath his tough image. Ice Cube was just 22 years old when he made his acting debut as Doughboy, delivering a performance that instantly captured audiences. Today, he is 57 years old, and more than 3 decades later, Doughboy remains one of the most iconic and relatable characters ever brought to the screen. Brandy, played by Nia Long, is one of the brightest lights in Boyz n the Hood. Smart, confident, and focused on her future, Brandy stands out as someone who refuses to let her environment define her. While many of the people around her are consumed by the pressures of street life, Brandy remains determined to pursue her education and build a better life for herself. As Trey's girlfriend, Brandy becomes much more than a love interest. She challenges him to think differently, encouraging him to make decisions that will help him reach his full potential. Their relationship brings some of the film's lighter and more heartfelt moments, offering a glimpse of hope amid the violence and hardships surrounding them. What makes Brandy so memorable is her strength and independence. She knows what she wants out of life and isn't afraid to stand by her values. At a time when many characters are struggling to escape the cycle around them, Brandy represents the possibility of a different future, one built on education, ambition, and self-respect. Nia Long was just 20 years old when she portrayed Brandy, a role that helped introduce her to a wider audience and marked the beginning of a successful career in Hollywood. Today, she is 55 years old and remains one of the most recognizable faces in film and television. Long before she became an Academy Award-winning actress, Regina King appeared in Boyz n the Hood as Shalika, Doughboy's girlfriend. While she doesn't have a huge role in the film, Shalika definitely leaves an impression. Confident, stylish, and full of attitude, she was the kind of character who could light up a scene the moment she appeared. Let's be honest, Shalika was a baddie. Whether it was her confidence, her personality, or the way she carried herself, it's easy to see why fans still remember her decades later. She shared several memorable moments with Doughboy and gave viewers a glimpse into the softer side of a character who spent most of the film trying to appear tough. As Doughboy's girlfriend, Shalika is part of the tight-knit circle of friends and family that makes the neighborhood feel alive. While the film is filled with serious themes and heartbreaking moments, characters like Shalika help balance the story with warmth, humor, and everyday interactions that feel genuine. Regina King was just 20 years old when she portrayed Shalika, one of her earliest film roles. Today, she is 55 years old and has gone on to become one of the most respected actresses in Hollywood, winning numerous awards and building an incredible career in film and television. Looking back, it's amazing to see where it all started. Even in a supporting role, Regina King's natural charisma shines through, and more than 30 years later, fans still remember Shalika as one of the most memorable girlfriends in Boyz n the Hood. While Ricky was busy chasing a football scholarship and dreaming of a better future, there was one person standing by his side through it all: Shanice. Played by Alicia Rogers, Shanice is Ricky Baker's girlfriend and the mother of his son. Though she doesn't have a huge role in Boyz n the Hood, her presence gives viewers a glimpse of what Ricky is fighting for outside of football. Beautiful, loyal, and supportive, Shanice represents stability in Ricky's life. While so many characters are caught up in gang rivalries and street drama, Shanice is focused on her family and their future. She believes in Ricky's potential and hopes his football talent will open doors for all of them. What makes Shanice's story so heartbreaking is that she has already begun building a life with Ricky. Together, they are raising a young son and dreaming about what comes next. That's why Ricky's death hits so hard. Not only is a promising young man taken away, but a family loses a father, a boyfriend, and a future they were working toward. Alicia Rogers was just 16 years old when she portrayed Shanice, bringing warmth and authenticity to the role. Today, she is 51 years old and remains a beloved figure among fans of classic black cinema. Many viewers also remember her as Demita from Class Act, another role that helped make her a familiar face during the early 1990s. Although Shanice isn't one of the film's central characters, she plays an important role in showing what's truly at stake. Through her, Boyz n the Hood reminds us that every act of violence affects far more than the person caught in the crossfire. It leaves behind families, broken dreams, and loved ones forced to carry on without them. If there's one character in Boyz n the Hood who wears her heart on her sleeve, it's Mrs. Baker. Played by Tyra Farrell, Mrs. Baker is the mother of Ricky and Doughboy, and her relationship with her two sons becomes one of the film's most emotional storylines. Strong-willed, outspoken, and fiercely protective of her family, Mrs. Baker wants nothing more than to see Ricky succeed. She places much of her hope in his football talent, believing it could open doors that were never available to previous generations. As a result, she often gives Ricky more attention than Doughboy, creating a painful divide between the brothers that becomes impossible to ignore. While Ricky is seen as the family's best chance at a brighter future, Doughboy is frequently criticized and pushed aside. Whether intentional or not, this favoritism leaves lasting scars and helps explain some of the resentment and frustration Doughboy carries throughout the film. What makes Mrs. Baker such a memorable character is that she feels real. She's not portrayed as perfect, and that's what makes her relatable. Like many parents, she's trying to do the best she can in difficult circumstances, even if some of her decisions have unintended consequences. Tyra Farrell was 29 years old when she portrayed Mrs. Baker, bringing both strength and vulnerability to the role. Today, she is 63 years old, and her performance remains one of the most authentic portrayals of motherhood in Boyz n the Hood. Through Mrs. Baker, the film reminds us that family relationships can be complicated, and sometimes the people we love most are the ones we hurt without realizing it. Sometimes life can be stranger than fiction, and no actor from Boyz n the Hood proves that more than Lloyd Avery. In the film, Avery plays a knucklehead, the gang member responsible for one of the movie's most shocking moments, the murder of Ricky Baker. It's a brief role, but one that forever etched his face into the memories of fans who watched one of the film's most heartbreaking scenes unfold. As a knucklehead, Avery represents the senseless violence that hangs over the neighborhood throughout the film. In just a few moments, his character changes the lives of Ricky's family, Doughboy, Trey, and everyone connected to them. It's a chilling reminder of how quickly a single act of violence can destroy dreams and alter lives forever. Lloyd Avery was 21 years old when he appeared in Boyz n the Hood. Today, he would have been 56 years old. Sadly, his real-life story became even more tragic than anything portrayed on screen. After finding success as an actor, Avery became involved in criminal activity and was eventually sentenced to prison for a double homicide. While serving his sentence, he was murdered in 2005 at the age of 36 by his cellmate. The tragic twist is not lost on fans of the film. An actor who played a killer on screen ultimately lost his own life behind bars. The moment Ferris appears on screen, you know trouble isn't far behind. Played by Raymond D. Turner, Ferris is one of the most intimidating figures in Boyz n the Hood. With his signature long hair, Chicago Bulls cap, and cold stare, Ferris carries himself like someone who's always looking for a reason to start a conflict. A member of the Crenshaw Mafia gangsters, a blood-affiliated gang, Ferris is the longtime rival of Doughboy and his crew. Their gang rivalry creates much of the tension seen throughout the film, and every encounter between them feels like a confrontation waiting to happen. While other characters dream of escaping the streets, Ferris seems completely consumed by them. What makes Ferris memorable is that he doesn't need a lot of screen time to make an impact. His crew is responsible for one of the film's most heartbreaking moments, the murder of Ricky Baker. Although Ferris doesn't pull the trigger himself, he is right there when it happens, and his involvement sets off a chain of events that changes everyone's lives forever. From that moment forward, the story takes a tragic turn that leads to revenge, loss, and even more violence. Raymond D. Turner was 30 years old when he portrayed Ferris, bringing a level of realism and menace to the role that made the character unforgettable. Sadly, he passed away in 2024 at the age of 63. Beyond Boyz n the Hood, he also appeared in projects such as Coming to America, ER, MacGyver, Wings, and Family Matters. More than 30 years later, Ferris remains one of the most hated villains in Boyz n the Hood. That's a testament to Raymond D. Turner's performance, because even today, fans still remember Ferris as the guy who helped set in motion one of the most tragic events in the entire film.